The best quality that I find in my spouse.
Remember, I get to remember this, and it's going to be on camera.
I mean, I could say it's your sense of humor.
Your mother might agree with you.
Gathering raindrops is fun, picking them down one by one. Winter is here, and our cloud tree appears full of droplets of rain for everyone. My bucket is blue, yours is red. Our ladders reach over our heads. Climb to the top, reach the very last drop. Swing our pails along the trails. We laugh so loud we can't stop.
The beauty of a big family is strips away everything that isn't important, all the superfluous things, because there's so much going on that it forces you to focus on what's really important.
When you get home, somebody's happy. Somebody's having a good time. They're playing and excited that you're there.
The best thing about being a big family is that, there's always someone there for you. What I like most about this family is we just connect with each other. It's fun.
Even in the midst of the chaos, even in the midst of the spats or the arguments, there's this underlying just sense of peace and joy.
Everyone has each other's backs here. There's no what if this happens? Will this person respond or not? It's like, no, we're always there for you.
I think you can be perfectly imperfect, and that's where God's gonna work.
I like Legos, and I also like playing in the forts what we make. Yeah, and then we took it down when Mama asked us to. Right, Mama?
Albert, he's our oldest. He's 13. He's a gift. He's my right-hand man. He really is. He is tender. He's smart. He is inquisitive. And I call him the baby whisperer. He loves babies. Out of all of my kids, he's like, when are we gonna have another baby? When are we gonna have another one?
Kiara is she's very spunky. She's got a lot of passion and a lot of life in her. Hobbies, I see her really enjoying art. In contrast, I think, to most of the universe, she doesn't mind getting punched in the face every once in a while in order to accomplish it. She came home with a bloody nose one day and was grinning ear to ear, like, see, I got a bloody nose today. She's just, she's a lot of fun to watch.
Charles, he is our 9-year-old, and he is our in-house comedian. He aspires to be a comedian on the road one day. Recent development wants to know everything about everything. He wants to know how things work. He wants to take it apart and put it back together. He would be at Chris's elbow from 15 months old, watching what Chris was doing, and within a couple turns would be handing Chris the next tool that he needed to do something. Juliana's feisty. She's fierce.
Fiercely loving. She's the one who's giving everybody a hug. She's the one who's, always looking out for everyone else. And as a dad, I have the requisite dad jokes that come out every once in a while, and the requisite threats as well. Like, if you do that again, I'm gonna hang you upside down from the tree or something like that. And I said, no, you can't do that. And I wasn't really going to do it. She's a lot of fun. Peter's my little buddy.
Our lives would be quite different and a lot quieter and very boring if Peter was not a member of our family. He brings so much liveliness to our family. He is mischievous and sweet. He's salty around the edges. Lumina's our 2-year-old, so her little spirit too is we're starting to see her true personality kind of shining through. And like her sisters, just has like a unique strength and spunkiness about her. Very sweet, very tender, very cuddly. The baby is due late December. I think December 30th is our official due date.
We've never made it to an official due date. Most of the time, I get a call at work, 2 weeks before the baby's due, saying, I'm at the hospital, they're telling me I'm in labor, you better come.
Chris and I met online. I had joined Catholic Match a couple years before, but hadn't really done much with it.
I get this email from Catholic Match, and it was kind of one of those like check out these profiles or something like that, and I ended up clicking one.
So he sent me this email. He didn't have a picture up, so I couldn't even tell what he looked like. And we corresponded via email for about a month or two before we actually met.
She blew me off for our first date, said she had to study the next day and had been up late, which I think was true. She was appropriately apologetic in the email.
His words made me laugh. And then we decided to meet in person. So we went to Mass on the Upper East Side, and then went to a diner after Mass and spent hours talking about all the things you're not supposed to talk about on our first date. We talked about politics and religion and family, and he claims that he knew after that night that we were going to be married.
The rest is history. We hit the ground running and got engaged pretty quickly and really never looked back.
And I knew for myself I was looking for a holy Catholic man who could lead my family in faith and life. He pushes me, he challenges me. He's my way to heaven.
She's a fantastic and amazing woman, and it clearly was, but I knew from the start that this was going to be the thing.
I try to show my kids through my own actions what I expect from them and what I want from them in terms of behavior and their faith and their personal journey through life. Whether it's very humbling sometimes to hear yourself through your children and what they say. You're like, oh, they get that from me. So having them pray with you, having them see you pray, see you wash the dishes, see you even argue. We don't hide arguments from our children because that's a natural part of life. So emulating for them the behavior that I wish for them and the experiences that I want them to follow, I hope they can take from that.
The best quality that I find in my mom is that she never leaves a task unfinished. If she starts something, she always sees it through to the end.
So having 6, 7 on the way is definitely a challenge, and it's really truly just God's grace. Each day some days are amazing and everything works the way it's supposed to be, and then other days I'm pulling my hair out, I'm raising my voice, the natural part of being part of a big family. And so I keep going back to just falling on God's grace and praying in those moments. It was difficult for me when I first had probably 3. I really craved those quiet moments for myself. Daily Mass was getting harder, and it was just like the peace of my everyday house was no longer so peaceful. And my spiritual director he said, Meg, this is your prayer. Washing those dishes, changing those diapers, make that your prayer.
It's really nice when she gets the family together, for a movie night or something else, when we play a game.
It's always a battle of time, trying to find time for the marriage and my wife, trying to find time for each child individually, trying to make sure that I'm doing my duty at work and getting all my work done. With a long commute and being busy, it's always a challenge, but I wouldn't give it up for anything, and I wouldn't have it any other way. My kids are a lot of times what keeps me going. Why do I in some ways working as hard as I do because I know that I owe it to them, not just in a ability to provide for them sense, but also, part of my vocation, part of my role is being out and working.
What I like most about my dad is he is the one who also teaches me how to build. Like my mom who teaches me how to cook. And that's where I come, and that helps me come up with most of my inventions. I really like when he comes and plays outside with us. Like when we throw football together, maybe play a game with a catch with a baseball, and just games outside. They're really fun with him.
Sometimes what you think is perfect is maybe not even the way that it's supposed to work. And so I think that you talk about perfection in a family, and I come back to that a big family sometimes feels like, okay, I've got everything here, and I don't know how we're going to get from there to there. It's not going to be perfect, but I'm just going to grab a hold of everything I can and walk, and we're going to see what happens.
Homeschool room. This is where the younger ones and my second do their homeschooling throughout the day. Homeschooling has been a huge blessing for my family. It has allowed us a lot of flexibility in our lives. It's allowed me to spend time with the kids and get to know the kids on a level that I don't think that I would be getting and that I would be missing if I wasn't with them every day. Homeschooling also allows each child to work at their own pace. So if a child needs to spend more time on a subject or can move ahead in a subject matter, they're able to do that, which is great. Are you working on your math? Take a break. One of the beautiful things about homeschooling, it allows us to truly embrace our faith. We don't take the holidays off like Martin Luther King Day and such, but we take All Saints and All Souls Day off, the Immaculate Conception off. We're able to go to daily mass. We're able to go to First Friday Adoration and Benediction at our parish. And so it allows us to truly incorporate the faith into the fabric of their school days and of our daily life.
Why is she always down now?
I think as far as the challenges, for me, especially at the beginning, each new child was a challenge. For the first one, it got to be very physically demanding. I was used to sleeping, 8 hours a night. And my wife worked nights at the time after our first was born, and I, had a job in the city. The miscarriages are certainly hard. I would say I think that they're a lot harder on my wife than they are on me. They're not easy for anyone, but a lot harder on her on me.
Each of our losses, we've had 8 miscarriages overall, and we're a struggle. We were diagnosed with secondary infertility after my second daughter was born because we had 3 miscarriages in a row. We went through the testing and everything that the Catholic Church allowed to see if there was anything scientifically that could help or was wrong. And it was all just because. So grieving those losses, after the third miscarriage, after my second daughter was born, it's actually my 5th miscarriage overall, but the 3 in a row. I remember telling Chris, we're done, I can't do this anymore. I was ready to sell all of the baby stuff, and he was just like, well, let's hold on to it. We ended up moving out of Manhattan, and I went to grad school in Philadelphia, and we got pregnant that fall with my 3rd. And I think that just grieving each child is unique, and each circumstance is going to be different. Miscarriage is not something that the world often acknowledges as a true loss. I think we're blessed with our faith that I know, that each one of those souls was a beautiful gift from God and that they're mine. And we have 8 little saints up in heaven that are interceding for us and praying for us and that we can rely on. I think perfection is something in our society today that can be very problematic for people and for families. I think social media plays a big part in that, because when you look at social media, you see the perfect, you see the edited photographs and the perfect family outings, and it's very easy to get caught up in my family needs to be X, Y, or Z. It's something that I've really grappled with for myself in confession and spiritual direction is, am I seeking perfection or am I seeking holiness? And sometimes, holiness is perfection, but what is my mindset? What is my actual goal? And so I think you can be perfectly imperfect, and that's where God's gonna work the most. That's where God meets you, and that's where He wants us to be. And so that's where I try and lead our family, is that it's okay not to have the perfect everything all the time. And it's truly like in those imperfections that the most joy is found as well.
The goal of a family is to get everyone in the family into heaven. So you have to accept that as the first principle. You accept that as the first principle, then that's the rock you have to build on. And Jesus is the rock you have to build on. Sand is everything else, and the world, and what's comfortable, and what doesn't challenge the status quo. We both, my wife and I, come from pretty good families, faithful parents that always, made sure we were always at church on Sundays, that we were always doing the things that we were supposed to be doing until we were off on our own, and then we had to make our own choices.
As a family, we go to Mass obviously on the weekends, on Sunday. There's obviously the weekends that somebody has camping or something, but for the most part, we go to Mass together as a family. My 2 older boys serve. Our oldest is the MC at most of the Masses. And that's a joy as a parent and for their younger siblings to see their brothers up there serving.
At one point I was talking with my wife, and her family's had challenges and my family's had challenges, and due to human nature, some people are more broken than others. There's been challenges in marriages and the like across my siblings and hers. And I was a little bit almost despairing of the fact that we came from pretty good situations. And if you look at both of our families, there's a lot of brokenness on both sides. And if that's what comes from parents that are good and parents that are doing the right thing, what is it that we should expect for our kids? And her response, I think, was fantastic, which is, look at my family and look at yours. And yeah, there's been problems in both, but your brother goes to church every Sunday. He's receiving the sacraments. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Your sister's doing the same thing. My sisters are all, strong in their faith and continuing on in their faith. So despite everything that's going on and everything that's broken, all the kids of those parents that were faithful, whose house was built on rock, are all still doing the right things. And it may not be perfect. It may not be the exact situation that you would want if you were planning out the perfect life, but they're all on solid footing and they're all headed the right direction. So if we can base what we do and instill in that in our children what's important, that it's not the next thing, it's God, and it's living that through your daily life, I think we'll get the same outcome.
So this is our collection of shining light dolls. The kids often get one in their stockings or Easter baskets or for St. Nick's Day. Each saint comes with a little story card that tells the story of the saints. Many of our kids are named after saints, so it's just a really tangible way for the kids to learn about the saint they're named after, and also just learn about the saints in general and give them people to aspire to follow. This is our church altar. This is our home altar. This is where we gather in the morning for our morning prayer. This is where we say our family rosary. This is where we try and do our daily meditations. And this is where we just come to gather when we need a moment of quiet or a moment to think and be at peace.
We, since the kids have been young, have been sitting in the front row of church. Not by my choice and not by Meg's choice, mostly Albert and some of the other kids, and now it's what we do. And I cannot tell you how many comments I've got. Even this morning we were at men's group. It's like, oh, you're the guy with the family that sits in the front of the church all the time. We love watching you guys. And so I think it ends up being, if you're doing the right things, and if you are based in the right foundation, you love each other, you take care of each other, and people notice. So you don't have to go out and do something extraordinary. If you're just who you are, and then ultimately people notice, people figure it out, and people want that. They want to see some part of it.
You know, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family, right? That's to love each other and support each other, and that builds, and people notice that. That builds the joy, that builds the foundation of your family. It's based on love, on Christ's love and love for each other. And like Chris said, people notice. It's not, I think it's easy to get caught up in wanting people, wanting to be that example for people, and you can't do that. You just have to know that what you are doing is good and holy, and love each other. And then the result of that, the fruit of that will speak for itself.
Yeah, and like Mother Teresa says, be the change you want to see in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'm highly sorry for having offended you, but I detest all my sins because of your just punishment, because they offended you, my God, all good and serving of all my love, and firmly resolved of the help of your grace to sin no more, void occasion of sin. Amen.
Gathering rainbows is fun. Colors spill out from the sun. Just me and you fill our pockets with blue, purple, pink, yellow, indigo. Oh, oh. Barefoot we run through the sand. The colors spill out from our hands. Red,
We are the Sturhahn family,
And
we are joyfully made.
Stop. Follow me and we'll blow like the wind, flow like waterfalls. Together splashing puddles with our feet, we could sail down the street. Lovely rain, come again.
Problems, worries, sadness. Are you seeking solutions?
Bible says,
Do not be anxious about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Choose faith over fear.